And that's what we're talking about here and now, because the number of drivers who have been caught using their mobile phone while behind the wheel has soared. It's a rise in so-called dashcam detectives has increased the number of motorists being caught. So we wondered, what are the thoughts of Norfolk's cycling community? Peter Silburn is the chairman of the Norwich Cycling Campaign and joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Peter. Would you say that the lot of a cyclist, for want of a better word, has changed since dashcams have now started being used by cyclists and indeed motorists alike?
Well, good morning. I think the thing that's changed is that more people are reporting the issue. It's always been there, or has been, since people are using mobile phones. So the danger itself probably hasn't really increased. So as I think one of your correspondents there was saying, it's a good thing that people are reporting these to the police, and then the police take whatever action they consider necessary. So it's a good thing. As cyclists, certainly, the biggest danger you face is from car drivers, some of them driving too fast and aggressively. And obviously, if some of those drivers aren't even paying attention to what's going on in front of them, that's not a good thing. So yes, we very much welcome that some people, and it is, I gather, mostly drivers who report other drivers on their phone, and also obviously some cyclists with helmet cams are reporting these. So yes, we very much welcome it.
So some progress being made then, by the sounds of it, in amongst all of that, but it's still a problem though, isn't it? It's still happening. It's still, cyclists are having some quite near misses, and indeed sadly in many instances, and there's always several a year here in the county, an accident that ends up being a fatality.
Well, that's right. Yes, I think we'd like to see this becoming socially unacceptable in the way that drink driving is now socially unacceptable. I'm old enough to remember when driving under the influence was considered perfectly normal, and that's certainly not the case today. So the danger presented by being on a mobile phone is a similar of a similar nature. If you're looking down at your phone, even just for a few seconds, as people say, you're not paying attention on what's ahead of you. Cognitive distraction, I think, is a technical term, and it's well known that continues long after you put the phone down. So a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I put my phone down," but actually, it's well known that you'll then think your mind's still on what's going on the phone for up to a minute afterwards. So we've all seen that quite familiar situation where in a queue of cars, someone's on their phone, and then the car in front moves forward. The driver puts their phone down and just automatically moves forward without really paying attention, and almost runs someone over. So, it's just, as I say, it just should be socially unacceptable. I think we're moving in that direction, and it's good that the law. I think the law is perfectly clear. It's quite straightforward now. There were some loopholes that were tightened up a couple of years ago. It's quite simple now. You just don't touch a mobile phone or device while you're in traffic.
Well, that's the law.
Sitting in. Yes, that's right. So I think the law is perfectly clear.
But you'll see it if you're out on your bike today. Anybody, I mentioned this earlier, but as I drive home later, anyone driving at the moment, you see other people you see in waiting in the traffic next to you. They're on their phone, aren't they? Even when the traffic's stationary. Yes. So as you say, it is still an issue. Yes. But you're right. Funny enough, I saw a program at the weekend. I think it was 1969 when breathalyzers came. No, 1968 when breathalyzers came in. And you're so right. The people, the contributors on the program, were saying that it was normal to have 6 or 7 pints for someone to then get in their car and drive home, but that you just wouldn't get that today. There is the odd incident by and large, but it is socially unacceptable. But as you say, perhaps a little way to go before all cyclists perhaps get the respect that they deserve. Having said that though, Peter, you know where I'm going with this, because there will be drivers listening now who will say that cyclists need to be extra careful as well. Do you accept that perhaps sometimes it can be a two-way street?
Well, not in this instance. Yes, obviously everyone needs to take care, but if you're talking about a distracted driver hitting a pedestrian or a cyclist, what are you telling me? The cyclist or pedestrian is to blame? Of course not. And the Highway Code is perfectly clear on this. The recent changes a couple of years ago, the hierarchy of responsibility, that it's the source. where the source of the danger comes from, which is big, heavy vehicles. If you're in control of one of those, then you bear the responsibility. Yes, I mean, obviously, as I say, you know, you either as a pedestrian or as a cyclist, you shouldn't be reckless. But if you're just going about your daily business and you get hit by a driver who's not paying attention, it's the driver that's at fault, surely.
Well, indeed, you can't argue with that. And indeed, as you mentioned, the highway code there, I was going to ask about that change that came in a couple of years ago. I don't suppose it's maybe too early to see too early to say whether or not that's seen any difference, but in terms of safety and the amount of respect and space that cyclists are given now by other road users. But of course, that should always have been the case anyway, shouldn't it, Peter?
Indeed, I mean, that's what we've always said. You know, and your answer to your sort of question there, are we seeing a change? I think we're seeing a slight change, but the big problem was that there was no kind of public information campaign to tell drivers about it. So, you know, there should have been that. So, you know, not many people read updates to the highway code. So the fact that it was in the highway code is good, but there needs to be an awareness campaign to just let everyone know about it.
Do you think would you recommend that if people can afford it to get a dash cam or a helmet cam rather, if you're a regular cyclist, as you're going around the county, just to film what's going on front and rear?
Well, I mean, sadly, that's probably good advice. I think it's a shame. I mean, you know, just to go on your bike, just to get out and about, it seems a bit of a shame that you have to consider these things. I don't personally use one, but I think it's good that people are, definitely. And I think the reason why there's more people being reported for this offence is just simply that more people are using the cameras. So yes, by all means do so.
Always interesting to chat to you. Thanks very much indeed. That was Peter Silburn there, the chairman of the Norwich Cycling Campaign.